Hey guys, welcome back to some more Overhit. This is going to be part 2 of that best SR unit video I made. These are going to be the units that are more niche use, or units that I just haven't quite tested fully to know if they are as good as those other units. Some of these units, there's one in particular towards the end who I think is an absolute beast and will be part of those top echelon of SR units. But like I said, I just haven't tested these guys enough, so it's more theory crafting in these ones. And the other ones are just more niche type units with their use, but still can be amazing. If you haven't seen the first video, I'll leave a link to it in the description. It goes over those no-brainer best units to sort of invest in early game that you won't regret. And then, like I said, these ones are more niche. Let me know in the comments below with some of these units if you guys have tested them and how you are finding them, because I'd really love to hear. Like I said, there's one at the end that I really do want to test. So without any more, we'll jump into the video. So for starters, we'll go into the defense breakers. So the first one being Ludmilla. She actually has amazing grimoire and I've got it, so I really want to pull these final 2 dupes and really start testing her out. So we'll jump into her first skill. It's a 3 target defense break that also does damage. Really nice. 3 targets, defense broken, can't complain with that. Pretty much is what it is. That's what you want. You want to reduce their defense, deal more damage for the rest of your team. She does the 3 targets, she's solid. Second skill, does a single target attack, inflicts burn. Not too bad. Single target nuke with burn. If we get like a nature raid boss or something, I think she'll be an absolute staple. I will test her against Fafnir once I do get her maxed out. And then the thing that I really love about her is this grimoire skill, and that is increases hit target damage taken by 17% when active skill is triggered. Now, being that her AoE attack, her defense break, hits 3 targets, so you're going to be defense breaking 3 targets and increasing the damage they take. That to me is an amazing lead-off skill in raids, lead-off skill in arena. Just, it puts you on the offensive really early, having that grimoire, and I've been really lucky to pull it, so I am going to really test this out once I do get 2 more copies of her. I'll max out her abilities, max out her skill, or at least her armor break skill, and really give her a test out, because I think she's going to be an absolute beast for it. So that is the Ludmilla. Moving on to the second armor breaker that I want to talk about, and that is going to be the Martina. Now, she was on my list in the first video I make. I still reckon she's an absolutely amazing unit. I haven't got enough dupes of her to test her properly, but let's jump into it. Increases attack of nature allies. Not too bad if you're looking at doing the water raid boss and you're doing a mainly nature team. She could be really nice. Haven't really stepped into those raids too much, but I'm keen to start testing them out. We'll move into her armor breaking skill. So this is a skill that poisons 3 enemies and puts defense break on. It doesn't actually deal damage. It's just you've got that 50% chance to put poison on, and then you've got the 100% chance to put defense break on. Really nice. The poison's only 30 seconds, but the defense break is 60 seconds, which is what you're really looking at. And the thing that I think she will eventually be an absolutely amazing unit for is this skill here. So if we go to skills and we look at it max skilled, this is like an insane multiplier, and the only prerequisite is to have poison on the enemy. Now, it synergizes kind of well with her because she does do the poison with her defense break, but being at only a 50% success rate, looking at that water raid boss, you know, if you bring something like a Ren who's an SSR with I think it's a 90% or 100% activation poison, you can basically combo that into this, and you've got a 333 multiplier attack chaining into a 333 bonus damage, and also decrease the damage of the enemy by 35.3. It's like, it is a huge nuke. If you look at other things like the Young Lek, you know, he's around that 300 and something multiplier off the base hit, and then but his bonus multiplier is only like 130. Don't quote me on numbers, but it's lower. This being 333 and 333, and a really easy scenario to meet, just being poison, I feel like is going to be a massive nuke. And when you chain on top of that, it's not only doing a massive nuke, you're also getting that damage reduction. It's huge. So you've got, in the unit, you've got defense break, you've got poison, you've got massive damage and damage reduction for the enemy. I think she's going to be amazing. I can't wait to pull more copies of it and actually test her out fully. but she is definitely one on my radar that could be an absolute beast for even raids and stuff like that. Moving on, that's the armor breakers. The next one I wanted to look at is a bit of another niche range, which is the AoE attack breakers. Now, we'll jump into the first one, which is going to be Victoria. Victoria, another real solid unit for progression as well. If you get a few dupes of her, she's really, really nice. She's got the attack of all allies by 20%. Really nice. First skill, attacks 4 enemies and does the poison again. It's only a 30% success rate. It's not the main skill she's there for me. For me, in arena and stuff, I like the idea of opening up with an attack break AoE. You got things like Ash as well that does it. It just sort of mitigates your enemy's damage. It puts you a little bit on the front foot with getting damage into them. And I feel like there's a team for arena that I want to build using Victoria, using an Ash, and using the next unit we're about to talk about, and just having a bunch of AoE attack breakers with something like a proxy in there, just to deal massive damage and also just mitigate damage as well. So this one, really nice skill, decent multiplier for a 3 target. Not the best, nothing like Dark Hell's one, but still really nice. You've got 2 AoEs, you've got an attack break, and if you land the poison, really nice. So just a really solid kit, and not a bad option to test out for the attack break in arena and in general content as well, because attack break is always nice, especially being AoE. The next one that I want to talk about, and it's one that I've just sort of built, maxed out the abilities. I'm just working on gems for the skills. And I'm going to really work on her because I think she's going to be great, and that is Reyna. Now, her leader skill also makes her amazing because she's got the light ally crit rate and crit damage, which really benefits young Gleck in arena. So something I've been testing out is using her as my leader in arena, just playing around with it. Like I said, getting that attack break early on against enemies. She does it to 4 enemies. The other nice thing about having a light unit that has AoE at the moment in arena, basically everyone has a Cicero tank, and just about everyone has a proxy, and a lot of people have a Tese in there. And then there also is a lot of, I can't remember that guy's name, the SSR that has dual AoEs. He's an absolute beast. Can't remember his name. But yeah, there's a lot of those out there. So there's a lot of dark units in arena. So being able to have just an AoE that's going to hit all those guys, do really decent damage because of elemental advantage, and then also put attack break on. It is really nice, and I've been enjoying it so far in arena. So that's her second skill, 4 target attack break, plus average damage. Once you get to 4 enemies being hit by an AoE, it really does reduce the multipliers. And she also has a single target attack that can be really niche. If your enemy's revived their Cicero, you can silence that Cicero, stop him from healing, stuff like that. It's a single target nuke with the silence. So silence is not bad in any aspect. So definitely a nice niche skill to use as well. But the main reason I bring her is for that AoE attack break, and I am actually really enjoying it at the moment. Moving on to sort of content specific damage dealers. The first one I want to look at is Ulta. Now, once again, another unit. Once I get more dupes, I will build him. I think he will be amazing. I think he also does have a requirement of having better gear. So his leader skill increases the attack of water allies. Not too bad, like I said, for the fire rate if you're using a mainly water team. Can be really nice to get that extra damage. Now, the thing about this guy's skills that I really do like is that on both of them, on the second skill, it says the buff after the damage, but on both of these skills, he does buff himself before dealing the damage. This one gives him pierce damage and then uses an attack. It's only a 7-second duration, so you're just basically getting that buff for this attack for a single target nuke, which has a really decent base multiplier at level 1, which is really nice. So you're getting that pierce damage, buff it, and then attack. The buff leaves, but you've had it for that active skill, which you really wanted it for. Second skill, this is why I say he'll have a high gear requirement, because you want those pierce rate, you want that crit rate stats. But if you get him at the decent crit rate, this skill, he'll just buff his crit damage by 50%, and that's at base, and then do a massive single target nuke. Like I said, if you crit with that, it's going to do huge damage after that massive buff. So that's why this guy, definitely think for the fire rate, he will be probably the #1 damage dealer from the SR range of things. Moving on to him, I know this video is taking a while, guys. Wow, it's up to 23 minutes, but we'll get there. I'm trying to cover as much as I can in this one to be really informative. So the next one I want to talk about is going to be Shinobi. And he's one that I feel like if there ever becomes like a light raid content or something like that, he will be really nice. He's got crit rate, crit damage of dark allies, which isn't too bad, but he's just a single target nuker. He's got his first skill, which has poison at a 90% success rate, which is really decent. 90%, obviously you'd love 100, but 90% is not bad. It's good single target nuke, puts the poison on. His second attack is another single target nuke, and if they have poison, it does an extra nuke. So really, really well synergized. You just do skill 1 into skill 2, you get massive damage. Unfortunately, Teze is a thing that a lot of people do have, which outshines him. However, being him at plus 5 compared to like a Teze plus 1, I feel like his damage is going to be better. However, he does lack the leader skill, so you will need a nice leader skill in your team. But like I said, if there becomes like a light raid or something like that, I feel like he could be a really, really good damage dealer for it. Moving on to the next one, which is Casca, I think it's said. I really do suck with names. But she is the fire unit that I would pick as the damage dealer if there's ever a nature type raid. Basically because she has attack and max HP of fire allies. Really nice if there is that mono team that you are building for it. Throw into that, she's got this skill which is a 3 target healing down. Not the main skill you're going to be wanting to use for it, but it could have niche circumstances. The main thing I'm looking at with her is her skill 2, which is just a guaranteed crit. It means it's a single target nuke, guaranteed crit. You can really just stack that crit damage and get some good damage out of it. So I feel like at the moment, she's not really worth building. However, if they do make a nature raid or some nature-based content, single target, where single target damage is key, I feel like she will definitely shine in that. Just those guaranteed crits are really nice. Stack crit damage, and you're going to be doing some huge damage. And if you're using that mono team, having attack and HP for your fire allies, really, really nice. Moving on, there's only a couple more that I wanted to cover. The next one is going to be Hikate. I think I said that right. I'm not too sure if I did. She's another unit which looks really nice from the dark range. Attack of physical type allies. Not too bad if you're using a lot of physical type damage dealers. Can be really nice. Her first skill. Now, this skill is what I really like about her. Is that it's a single target nuke, but the special thing about it is it attacks the enemy with the highest attack. Now, I'd really love to pull more dupes of her to put her into an arena team, because at the moment, I feel like a lot of people are either using their Dominique or their Young Glek to nuke Ciceros. Now, if that's their main damage dealer, I feel like that's probably going to have the most attack on their team, which means this skill will target them, have elemental advantage, be a massive nuke, and pretty much one-shot them. Like, I can't see it not one-shotting them if you do invest into it. But if it doesn't, and say it targets something else that's not a light unit, you're still going to reduce the damage that enemy deals by 30%, which is really nice. Just mitigating damage on the highest attack target, plus it's only a 50-second cooldown. So this skill basically makes her, in my mind, a really viable arena option, just for the fact that no matter who you hit, it's going to be the enemy with the highest attack, so probably the most investment on their team, probably going to be the unit that they rely on most for getting the damage out. And it doesn't matter if they're on the back row, you're going to be reducing that, you're going to be hitting them, hopefully killing them, if not reducing the damage they deal. So that skill alone makes her really good. Her second skill is actually really nice too. It's a 3-target hit, doesn't have a massive multiplier, does do poisons. Like I said, it's nowhere near Dark Hell damage, but it's only a 30% success rate on the poison. But sometimes in arena, when everyone starts getting low and you just want that AoE to push a couple units over the edge, it could be nice. So her, definitely one to watch out for. I can definitely see her being fairly meta once everyone gets over the whole building raid teams and stuff like that. I can see her being a really, really good unit to build for arena. The next unit we're going to look at is one that I'm actually most excited about with the Ludmilla to test, and he's going to be the next unit that I go full investment into with Ludmilla. He's another dark unit. There's so many good dark units, but it is going to be the Kojirou. Now, I feel like this guy could actually be up in those top echelon of SR units. I just haven't tested him enough, but if things go the way I think they will, I think he is going to be one of those absolute top units that you really want to build, especially for arena. And we'll just get into him and you'll see why. So firstly, his leader skill. Normally these mono leader skills I'm not a massive fan of. However, because it is dark, and two of the best SR units that basically everyone is going to be using, Dark being Cicero and Proxy. I feel like this is really solid. In Arena, you can go in, have Cicero on your front line, Proxy and him on your second line, and then any other support units. Normally you're going to have something sort of supportish in the back row to help them out, and basically they don't need that buff as much, and being on the back row, they're not going to get hit as much. So it's not the end of the world, but having your front 3 units having that defense buff is really nice to mitigate damage on those 3 or 4 target AoE damage abilities. Also, they get the attack buff, which is really nice. Obviously, they want to be doing damage, so they get that. So this as a mono element skill, I really do like. Moving on to his skills, his skill 1, it's a single target nuke with a fixed damage, additional damage. So it doesn't matter what element you attack, you don't need any conditions for it, it's just extra damage. So it's really nice. When you look at the skill maxed out, it's an extra 1795 damage, which isn't crazy. When we get to higher gear caps and stuff like that, you know, you start getting around that 20-25k HP. This is going to fall off a little bit, but it still has a decent 325 multiplier, and the additional damage is just icing on the cake. So a decent ability all around. Great for just chunking out some light units once you get through the front row and stuff like that. But yeah, not a bad unit, not a bad ability at all. The one we're really looking at is his second skill, and the reason this is basically the reason I think he's going to be an absolute beast. Now, when I first read this skill, I didn't consider how it functioned, so I did some testing. So we'll read it out. Deal damage equal to 180.6 to 4 enemies. 180 is a decent multiplier for hitting 4 enemies. But the additional damage of 92% when they're 50% or lower is amazing. Now, when you first read this skill, you go, yeah, but you know, if they're already below 50%, it doesn't really matter because you're probably going to kill them with the initial damage anyway. The amazing thing about this ability, and I'll put a screenshot on the screen now of my testing. It's kind of hard to see, but the thing about this attack is all of these units that I was attacking started, you can see the one on the far left was just above half, the others were at full HP. Now, the thing about this is the additional damage doesn't proc, they don't have to be below 50% when you activate the skill. It's basically that first hit has to put them below 50%, and then it deals the additional damage. So what you can see here is, if you look at the unit on the left, for instance, it was just above half. You can see that it did the initial 1296 and then an additional 733. So being it that it was above half health at the start, it then procced that additional damage of 733 because it was below half at the end of that initial damage. You can see that there are, it's sort of a bit hard to see, it was the best screenshot I got. But yeah, basically you can see the unit in the back row there. If you just look, there's 733, there's another 733, and there's another 733 overlapped. So there's 3 733 damages in there. Sorry, I keep saying 733. But there's 3 of those in there. Now, there's that one unit at the back that finished above half health that you can see, and that's why there's only 3 of them. Because it finished above half health from that initial strike, it didn't actually proc the additional damage, and that's why it didn't happen. All the others, you can see they're still alive. They started above half. 2 of them started at full. And because that initial strike got them below half, it procced the additional damage. So, sorry that was a long explanation, but that is basically why I think this guy's going to be an absolute beast. Because you just, like, for instance, what I'm going to do, I'm going to build my Ludmilla because I really like her with the Grimoire. But if I get that AoE armor break, go straight into this skill, pretty much guaranteed that after that damage, armor break, damage increase on the enemies, you're then going to pretty much one-shot them with this, because even if they're not below health after that Ludmilla attack, his initial strike is going to get them below half and proc that extra damage and do a massive nuke down on them. So I think this is going to be amazing. I honestly think he's going to be one of those top tier units, but like I said, we need more testing. Once I do get him fully built, I will do a spotlight on him and do some arena tests and stuff like that. But yeah, he is one definitely to look out for. Do not be selling away his the copies of him for skill up gems, because like I said, I think he will be an absolute beast of a unit. This is the last unit, and like I said, if there's any units that I did miss, it doesn't mean they're bad, it just means I haven't looked into them enough. If you have any other units, please let me know. The last one I want to talk about is Machaon. Machaon? I don't know, I suck with names. But this guy looks like really, really strong. Increases attack of all allies by 20%. Not a bad leader skill if you're just lacking leader skills and you got a mixed team. First skill, attacks one enemy, reduces the crit rate of that enemy. Could be decent in bosses, not the skill we're really looking at with him. This guy I feel like may have a real niche place in raids. Down the future, if you get a light raid, could be really good. Even in any raid at the moment, because he's neutral to every other raid, could be decent, but there are better options. But just because this guy has the skill that if the enemy is at 50% or lower, this skill is going to do added damage. So with raids being the way they are, where you can join into someone else's raid when the boss is at half health, he could be a really good option just to have in as your pinch hitter, where you go, okay, that enemy's at half health, let's bring him. We know we're going to get real solid damage straight off the bat with this second skill, and it's basically just a really strong execute that you can use on any element. He's never disadvantaged, and just a general good unit. So if they bring in a bunch of raids and you just want one unit to build that could be like that decent just execute nuker, I feel like he could have a place. Once again, he's not a unit that I'd build real early game and try and invest into. I just feel like he could be that really niche unit later on. So that is going to be it for the best SR units. Those were the niche units. I've gone through the other video with the just those no-brainer units. Let me know what you guys do think in the comments. And just because I didn't put a unit in this video doesn't mean they're bad. It's just they hadn't struck my interest. So some of the others could be really, really good. I really hope that some of those mech units are really nice because they look really cool. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. But thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.